there is a bit of this chatter around the senior players, and it's maybe something to just discuss because I suppose for someone like New Cordia, this is his third year, and I think you know people there's a bit of pressure on him. You got a little bit of Kate Well as well, but what are they untouchable, or is this is there actually a time that they could definitely be dropped? I mean, we've just me and you talked off here about all of the Eels front row or the forward pack got dropped to the New South Wales Cup. Jeremiah Nanai had one bad performance and he's out.
Yeah.
What about some of our guys like a New Cordia, Kate Well? Could we see that happen, or what do you think?
Yeah, there's underlying ones to all those ones there. Like the Parramatta Eels, a brand new head coach, a brand new system. He definitely wants to embed something that we tried to do, obviously, in 2023, right? And Jeremiah Nanai getting benched, getting dropped out of the lineup. He's had these issues for a little while now, and I'm sure Todd Payton's just starting to get sick of it. And I think Cowboys fans have been getting sick of it for a long time now, looking at all the Cowboys comment section and stuff like that after games. But with our boys, are they untouchable? No. I kind of don't agree with this whole sentiment that Webby doesn't drop people or anything like that. Like, again, like I look at it last year, like we dropped Kate Well out of lineup when he wasn't playing that well. He obviously came back from injury and we played him off the bench for that long period of time until he actually found his form after Origin. Jackson Ford was a guy last year that we dropped and we moved him everywhere to try and make him work. And then we dropped him out of the lineup when he was in that prop role off the bench. Like, for me, I think there is a role up there if they aren't playing good enough football over time, and there will be a change that will come if these guys don't step up. And I think that for me the spotlight is definitely on our edge back rollers at the moment and see how they are going continuing on, especially with Leka Halasima, Jacob Laban coming up through the ranks. So I do think that there will be a time where it may have to be one of those boys that filter out a lineup, but I think Webby's good enough to make that change. I think it is starting to become a little bit of a stereotype that's under Webby now that he's just going to pick and stick no matter what, but people got to also understand that's how you build consistency in your lineup. If you chop and change every week, you're not going to have consistency. So I know everyone wants to have that happy middle ground. If someone's not going to play a great game, just drop them out of the lineup. But there's a lot more that goes into play there. Like, for example, if you drop, let's say, we want to have Tomato Martin in our lineup, right, over, Shinohara Stavito or Luke Metcalf. Luke's already stepped up and said he's got the confidence to be the number 7. He's gone to the coaching staff and he said he will be the number 7. He's got all the confidence in the world. How's it going to look if we're going to take the 7 off him, put it on to Tomato Martin? His confidence is going to be absolutely wrecked because he wanted to be the 7 this season, especially after one game. He's going to end up having a stink as well to not feel like he's given a proper opportunity in that 7 jersey. So I think that people got to understand too is like a lot of these guys, experienced key members, do need time to, obviously fix up their wrongs and see how they go within a decent amount of time. And my whole thing is it's the same as how I play Supercoach. Just let a couple of games, let us get a little bit of a form guide first before we start making changes with senior players, stuff like that, because a lot of these things can actually hurt your squad more so than actually help it overall, especially with the community and the connection that we're trying to build in the squad.
I mean, a good example of Webby dropping someone was Montoya. It was just unfortunate RTS got injured the following week, so Montoya got bumped straight back up. But yeah, you do start getting in a bit of issues. Dropping people, and especially if, for example, I think Webby's really worried about taking risks on some of the younger guys right now, and Lick is still very young, but Dimitrik is too.
All of them are, bro.
And if they stuff up, then you're going to be crying, "Get me a new quarterback!" And there's that fine balance that you get into a bit of a. And I think Webby got caught on that a little bit last year when he went, when Tom Hardy was doing well and Sean came in and then they chopped around and I just want to give them a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Like if we see a continual drop off from Kate Well, with barring injuries, then sure, let's look at these things, but give them a little bit more time before we start to get into that space. But I agree. I don't think they're untouchable, but I think they need to be given just a little bit more time again. Okay. Just quick. This next topic. I just want to kind of give it some context to it. Is there pressure on Webby if we lose? I think I want to and add to that. If it is a big loss, if it is still the same, struggling on attack. Let's say he does throw a forward back in there early. is there now pressure on him based off making similar decisions again and not trusting guys? What's your thoughts? If let's just say hypothetically, if we have another bad performance against the Sea Eagles, is there pressure now on Webby? And if that was the case,
Yeah, I think that there's already starting to be a little bit of pressure. I don't know if it's just a loud minority in social media, comment groups, stuff like that around Webby at the moment, which I think is fairly unfair overall. Like, you guys know how much I love Webby, and maybe I'm the more positive type over Webby in general. I don't think he's a great head coach right now, and I think he can grow into a great head coach. In my opinion, I believe that in the future he'll get there. And that's the whole thing, is like, he reminds me of Ivan Cleary when we first had Ivan Cleary, that was learning his role, and it took ups and downs with Ivan Cleary as well before he got us to that grand final in 2011. It wasn't a perfect run. It never was. But I will concede that there will be pressure, like Webby. There will be pressure on any head coach that goes into a season 0-2, and if the team doesn't look any better, the team still has the same symptoms of what they had last year, even though of different people in these roles. But we also got to remember as well is, Webby should be given the long term, like the ability to end up growing in these periods and learning from these experiences. I think that, he's proven us he can do great things for us in 2023. 2024, very poor period, but people also going to understand the amount of injuries we dealt with in 2024 and these swing games that we had. Like, if we won 3 more games and there was 6 games that we lost within that 1 to 2 point period there, it's 3 of those games went our way. We're in the top 8 and we had a better points differential than majority of that bottom 8 in general too. So, I think that we just need to allow him to have time and just build with what he's got. I understand people get frustrated with his game plan. I understand people get frustrated with seeing someone playing consistent football and just trying to tweak us and taking away what everyone calls the fun aspect of the Warriors. But, people aren't, screaming that the Warriors aren't fun anymore or aren't good to watch anymore. When we smoked the Cowboys last year, 42 to freaking 16 or whatever it was last year, people weren't screaming that when we smoked the Rabbitohs last year, 32 to 6, in a massive, just a blowout for the middle. Like, when we play our football to the proper system and when we play it with the players with the full commitment, it's entertaining football to me in general anyway. A football purist over here in Australia that's grew up watching football since I was a little boy. It's entertaining for me. I used to love the Warriors that used to throw offloads all the time, but unfortunately we were the most inconsistent side in the competition due to that, right? Like, allow the system to build into place and allow the boys to actually play it out to fruition. But back to the question, is he under pressure? Yeah, a little bit. But over time, we allow him to grow and to I feel like it's a little bit of unfair pressure for me in general. Anyway, that's just me. I think I ranted on a little bit there, but
no,
it is what it is.
No, it's perfectly fine. And valid points. I love your comment there about not a great head coach yet. That's a good actual example of understanding the time frames here. Like, I've got Webby up until personally 2027. And even that game on last Sunday at Vegas, it really tested my faith, just from a feelings. And then once I dropped down, I'm back into, the raw emotions of that game was it did hit me. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be, but when I look at it overall, I think, he does need that time to have it. I mean, I go back to Ivan's era, and there's a lot of similarities to Ivan. He struggled some years, and then he kind of finally got around to it. He came across some amazing talent that no one knew about in Maloney, and SJ, rookie year from him, that was one of the best of all time, barring probably Cherry Evans, who won that final. Then you got, he had the talent that he had. So I think there's a little bit of everything. I honestly feel as though, again, I'm going to put the pressure back more on the backroom staff, on Cameron George. You could say that they had the money for $1 million. Yeah, we've kind of been more of the development phase, but there could have been a few more moves they could have made to maybe help out. But I think ultimately we just need to give it some time. And if it is a bad loss, look, it's gonna hurt, but we need to understand the bigger picture of this. Yeah, I don't think we need to look at chopping and changing head coach. We have a bad record once we get into that pattern, and they're horrible coaches, guys. Let's be honest with ourselves. Elliot came in, Bluey, Cappy. Do we trust that this? Look, I think Cameron George and that lucked into Webby a little bit.
100%.
And that's where I actually give Webby a lot of the credit for getting out of the best out of that 23-3 season. Let's not get too rushed into making these, getting a new coach, unless it's Bellamy or, whoever. But, yeah, I think we just need to sit patient a little bit.
Yep. It's just taking context. And I think when people think emotionally, because obviously they just see a game and they see this thing, they throw context all the way out the window and they look at what's going on there, right? But people got to also take in context overall of what Webby jumped into at the New Zealand organisation that we had at that point, just coming out of COVID. We were broken. We were in shatters. We had no development system at that point. And for the people that call it, again, I don't want to keep shouting out at that, but there was a reason why the fans came back and started up the Wires movement. There was a reason last year we sold out, Mount Smart Go Media Stadium, week in, week out, no matter what. It's because of what we were building, right? And I still think we're in that phase of building. This year, we all knew this was going to be an up and down year. We all knew it. And it's just crazy. I think all Warriors fans, obviously, when it comes into the season, they wanted us to obviously destroy the Raiders. So every commentator, every social media guy would come out there and be like, oh, look, I thought the Warriors were wooden spooners, but they're not wooden spooners. But guess what? We are one of those sides that are fighting for a top 8 spot. We're not fighting for a premiership this year. And it's going to take a little bit before we do fight for a premiership, right? Do we have the cattle for a premiership right now? Do we have a number 1, number 2 halfback in the competition right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do we need a number 1, number 2 halfback in the competition to make a top 8 spot? I don't believe so. So we have an opportunity to make a top 8. It's going to be an up and down season. But if we're going to look at premierships, if people are going to look at it as the winning premierships overall, we need to have a Nathan Cleary. We need to have, you look at the halfbacks that have won it for the last, 6 years go back. It hasn't been any different since Nathan Cleary or Jerome Hughes. Tell me another halfback or any other club that's done it other than those guys. So
it's even looking scary this year. It's looking scary
100%.
right now. It might be just Cleary and Hughes again, bro.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, bro. That's the thing. It's and tell me another club that's won a premiership in that period, another coach that has looked the better out of all those periods, right? I don't see anyone on the scrap heap at the moment as a coach that I'm looking at going, yeah, bring him in because Webby's not doing a good enough job, for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's some good shouts in here for getting a mentor. I'm not afraid of those. I remember when Cleary had John Hart for that season, and that worked well for us. No doubt a lot of that stuff happens in the back rooms, and maybe we need more of that. Maybe we need to build more around them. Agar's gone off the boil. Bro, go get someone that's good at attacking and maybe just a different voice in the ear. Maybe Stacey's gone a little bit long in the tooth in terms of voices around Webby. Maybe Webby's isolated. He's got Agar choking people in the corner. He's got Stacey, working on his Kiwi stuff. Maybe we just need some other voices to support Webby. That's something where I think we should look at right now.
We're not an easy club, bro. We're not an easy club to steer around. We aren't. We never have been, and we probably it's going to take time before we do become a club that's easy to steer around. And if you think about it too, again, going back to 2023, he got that position from our bottom 2 position of 2022. He got that to a top 4 side, right? 2024, he had to deal with Adam Fanor-Blake leaving, wanting to leave. Josh Curran leaving the club. A lot of talk around a lot of other players leaving the club. Coming to 2025 right now, guys, we have lost Sean Johnson, a halfback that has been around for us for how long? We had Tohu Harris leave us to start the season. Adam Fanor-Blake leave us. And tell me another coach in the competition that has to deal with that coming to this year, especially with a club that's notoriously known to be a hot and cold club. So the stereotype between everyone is that we're going to be an up and down team week in, week out, right? Last year, we had one of our worst injury periods that we've ever seen, honestly. And it's for me, it's just guys, just give him time, please. We don't give anyone time at this club. We really don't.
Great point, bro. And yep, we need patience. I like what the bro said up here that hiring Kidwell for coach will team improve. No, but the memes will be, Kidwell will come up, so up the wires will go. It will go out the door. It'll be the key is in the wing, bro. It will come. Honestly, bro, up the wires is, forget about up the wires, bro. It will change completely. But
That's
bro,
crazy.
it's a great argument, and and look, people. I always say this too. Don't always focus on Webby. Focus on the higher ups. Focus
Yeah.
on Cameron George. Focus on Robbo. Yes, Robbo's done amazing stuff. But there needs to be some pressure on them to get good deals done. I mean, Fisher Harris is great, but they were easy ones. These were guys that wanted to come home.
Yep.
These were, Aaron Clark wanted to come home. Can you get the little ones like the Sam Healey's are good, more of that type of stuff, smart signings, and then that natural progression of the development coming in strong. Like, let's not waste. Like I say, I always talk about Bishop Neal. Don't just use him as a battering ram because he's an amazing athlete.
Exactly.
Develop him young now, so when it comes 2027 or 28, he's ready to hit the ground running. So there's pressure in all parts of our club. Look, our club's it's great. Our club has grown 5 times its capacity in the last three years, which is huge for us. Us fans love it. We get to watch Warriors development on the weekends. We've got the women's coming up with a coach who's won the title twice. We've got, there's good things happening, but that we just need to get those things right to help the first grade. But there's everything. Everyone needs to play their part. So, I totally agree with you, brother. And patience is key. It's not going to happen overnight. Lexi, appreciate you, man. And then, but there's just wanted to chuck that out there to calm people, because those chats are happening right now. I'm like, wow, bro, guys, do you remember where we came from?
Yeah.
Do you remember where we came from
before?
I know.
Remember what we had before.
Yeah.
People
and
don't
we
understand.
Like I'm cracking up. Politis is still getting Molo. Like Sydney, it's just, if we were a Sydney club, it'd be so easy to get players. Like, seriously, we could get players, like decent veterans all the time. We're a tough club to attract. So it's part of the challenge. But we've got to be patient. But great.
And also the last thing too is, like, people scream on the juniors and they want to see the juniors so quickly and all that. But people got to also understand is, like, this is how good football clubs bode in their juniors. Like, the Melbourne Storm don't just chuck in their junior, like, in there, and then they just keep them in there for the rest of the year. They ease them in, time, and they allow them to grow into that position. Webby is just allowing these kids to get 20 minutes at a time, learn first grade, get in touch with first grade. You will get into that stage in time. And what people got to understand as well, Vai Moanga, Lek Alasima, Jacob Laban were all part of that COVID period, development period, right? They had chopping and changing throughout all their development period coming up through the grade. This is the first time they're starting to get consistent football, and Webby's put them 2 weeks in a row off the bench. So it's already showing that we are looking to ease these kids into that first grade spot. And Jacob Laban will get that role as well. He did last year. He had opportunities last year. Allow these kids to grow. They will find their spot, but we also got to run our course with some of the experiences members that we do have in a squad at the moment. Like, I saw a Roosters comment. The Roosters are shot with the amount of injuries that they have to play these kids out there. They don't want to. They never wanted to be in this position, but they had to. We're in a position at the moment where we have experienced members that are allowed these kids to ease in and to have their best opportunity at first grade. I think that's the biggest thing that people have got to understand. And, like, also understand, like, Lekker's had him 25 minutes last week. That's incredible. Like, most kids get 15 minutes at the end of a game. So think of it that way too.
Tarns is calling for Yash to get in the booth, mate. Get in there. Get in. You need to get into coaching, man. Maybe you need to get in the mentorship, bro. Ash to replace Stacey. Bro, Agar's nearly out the door, bro. Why not get Ash in there right now? I swear.
Oh, no way, bro. No way.
Come on.